Well, it was like a missed opportunity, don't you think? I mean, watching that game and watching the Bears, I think there were a lot of things to like about the way the team performed, but you kind of got a sense early in the game when they had opportunity after opportunity, but they couldn't put points together that this was going to be a tough game to win.
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing about it, because realistically, if we were all sitting in the room and talking before kickoff, would you think they had any opportunity? And when you look at some of the stats and the balance of the Eagles and the kind of the road they're on right now, you would think, man, this is going to be a blowout, and I don't think they stand any chance at all. And that kind of makes it a little bit more frustrating when they do put themselves in a competitive situation, and then you have a couple plays, a couple of situations that come back to haunt you and then take you out of that realm of possibility. So, it's kind of disappointing, because at the beginning you thought there was no chance, and then during the game they went and they gave themselves a chance.
Tom, I know you don't exaggerate, so I found it interesting when you were talking about this Eagles team after studying it last week. You made a comparison in loose terms, but you mentioned the 85 Bears in terms of how complete this group was. So I guess in that context, what happened? Did the Eagles take the Bears lightly, or is this how much the Bears have improved?
I think when you develop a reputation of the Philadelphia Eagles, a lot of time, whomever you're playing, you're going to get their best effort because they know what a good team they are. And back in '85, there are times that we went out and we played games and we had a struggle, even though we won them, because the other team was, doing everything in their realm of possibility to try to upset us. And yeah, the Dolphins were able and capable of doing that with a quarterback like Dan Marino. And, I still, believe that this is a really well-balanced football team. But there's, after 13 games, if you look at the 85 Bears, they had 44 takeaways. And after 13 games, the Eagles have 24. So there are elements that, are not really comparable. But when you look at a bulk of the stats, there is a lot of comparison that you can make between the 85 Bears and this version of the Philadelphia Eagles.
When you saw Alex Leatherwood, I think we'd been kind of waiting to see more of him, and he had 10 plays against Green Bay, and then they're moving in and out. Have you seen enough now, Tom? I mean, was that performance enough to not want to look at him against the Bills?
Yeah, he played 17 plays, and I think he took a step backward from the 10 plays that he played last week. And, the opponent was a lot different. What they asked him to do was different at times in terms of individual assignments on pass blocking. But when you look at him, it's two different ways. Does he understand his assignments, number one? Because there's a couple times that he bent over to Schofield and was kind of talking to him during the cadence. Now, to me, that always gives me an indication, do you know your assignments? And then, number two, there's specific fundamentals and techniques that he needs to significantly improve on if you're really going to consider him a starting right tackle on this team, and if you want it to go in a playoff type of direction. I don't know if he would have played 17 snaps if Riley Reef didn't twist his ankle on the extra pointer field goal, one of the two, and then he spent a little bit of time getting his ankle retaped and stuff. But it's not like I'm sitting here, considering him, giving them the Outland Trophy. That goes to the best offensive lineman in college football. But I need to see way more improvement out of him. I need to see him have more aggressive punch with his hands on pass protection, keeping his head up in responsibilities when you have combination blocks, and But I guess if you really think that he has any chance of being here next year, I got to give him some more. I got to get him some more reps, and some of the reps I want to get him is in Detroit, in a warm atmosphere, in a hostile environment against good pass rushers. So it's not going to get any easier for him, but, it's still an incomplete determination of where he stands.
Tom, what did you think of the Bears becoming the first NFL team in 3 years to punt from the opponent's 30-yard line?
I'm super disappointed in that. when you look at where they're at, what their record is, I don't know if you're allowing Cairo to make that call himself or as an analytic decision or really whatever went behind that. You know what? If Cairo doesn't want to kick it, then let Trenton Gill kick it and give him an opportunity to hit a field goal and, get who's ever the backup holder on that football on the team, give him a chance. But yeah, I was super disappointed. But there's a couple of games throughout the weekend, Indianapolis for that matter, they didn't kick a field goal when they should have in their game, and that you see what ended up happening to them. So yeah, just speaking of the Bears, disappointed that they didn't make that attempt.
This segment with Tom Thayer is brought to you by Horizon Therapeutics, a global biotech company going to incredible lengths. And along those lines, then, do you believe that the Bears have a Cairo Santos problem? I mean, you miss another extra point, and he went to great lengths to explain that, oh, no, we made an adjustment. We just moved it to the middle. And I don't know, Tom. I mean, he's not kicking off. Is he hurt? Is there a reason he turned down a 48-yard field goal and he looked like he was the camera caught him telling the coach he couldn't do it?
Well, then that is an issue to me because you're never going to finish the season in Chicago on the warm-up swing. And the conditions next Saturday are going to be as cold as the game as they played here in decades. So if you feel whether the conditions you can't kick, if you don't have the leg strength to hit a ball that has a little bit of somewhat of a crosswind in the stadium yesterday, then yeah, I need to bring competitors in here. And look, man, I love what Cairo has done since the moment he got here. He's kicked some big kicks. He's had those long, successful streaks of success. But again, if you're talking about a team that you want them ultimately to compete for a division, and how many division games you have late in the season, and a lot of them are at home, you better get a guy that's willing to bang kicks in 20 degrees with a little bit of a wind to 85 degrees with no wind.
Tom, Justin Fields did it again, had one of those moments on a 39-yard run that made 5 Eagles miss and was highlight reel material. He ends up with 15 carries for 95 yards and gets to 1,000 yards on the season. How surprised were you that he carried 15 times?
I wasn't surprised, actually. I thought that Justin, if he's healthy, he wants to do everything within his competitive juices to try to get the Bears wins and, have the beginning of the success story written for him, especially when you're out there breaking records and you would like to do it on an upswing rather than, being congratulated for setting a record after a losing effort. On the 39-yard scramble, I was more disappointed in the effort by Alex Leatherwood against Hassan Reddick. The reason that Justin had to take off is because he was being hassled so early in his drop that he had to look for that exit strategy. And, when he's ready to take off, he's going to put most guys in his rearview mirror if they're not in front of him with the proper pursuit angle, because even the guys downfield, you saw what he was capable, what he was able to do to complete that run.
It's bizarre, Tom, because we were talking about it this morning. We both felt like the secondary played pretty well. And I said, Jalen Johnson actually was really competitive. The guy he covered had 9 catches for 181 yards, but I thought he had a good game. And I thought that a couple of those throws from Jalen Hurts were just like indefensible.
I agree with you 100%. I think there was some unbelievable throws there, and the focus of the wide receiver talent they have there, whether it's Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, is pretty remarkable. And I agree with you, too. I thought that Jalen Johnson did a nice job for the most part, had some anticipation. But I also believe that the officials let those guys play. There could have been a couple calls maybe early in the year that might have been made that weren't made. And, you could see the frustration in A.J. Brown at times when he was getting up after being harassed throughout his route. But I'm not disappointed in Jalen, but when you look at what they were, the amount of yards that were attached to A.J. Brown as a receiver, I think people looking from the outside in who really never had a chance to watch any of the game would definitely think, wow, he they beat the defensive backs considerably. But, when you don't have hassling pressure repeatedly, the quarterback gets into a real comfort zone and has the ability to sit there, allow those receivers to get downfield, and then throw the ball up against individual coverage, hoping as much to get an interference call as you do a completion.
Tom, the Bears actually defensively against the run were pretty good. When you against that team and that offensive line, maybe better than expected, and our expectations certainly are low, but the Eagles had 112 yards rushing, averaged only 3.4 per carry. Why do you think they did so well stopping the run, and did anybody stand out to you that you didn't expect?
I thought Travis Gibson and Dominic Robinson, for the most part, they had really good get-offs. So if they could have those get-offs that had a look of a contained rush, then the running back or the quarterback had to stay to the interior where there's more bodies in space than getting to the outside where there is open space. I thought Nicholas Morrow did a great job of flowing sideline to sideline and having outside edge tackles and some significant interior tackles that he made, down near the goal line for a tackle for loss. This is the thing that bothered me, David, about the running game for the Eagles, is when they line up in that guaranteed, I'm going to run a quarterback sneak right at you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it, and then they convert them either for touchdowns or first downs. When you look at over the course of the last couple of years, and when the Bears are in a 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 situation, and they either try to get fancy or they try to, fool you a little bit about their formation or pre-snap movement, and then you don't win the play. That's what really comes back looking at that game, is when they said, I don't care what defense you're in. You're not going to stop us, and then we're going to run it right down your face. And they did exactly that, even though short gains, but it gives them a first down and then multiple plays after that.
Obviously, Tevin Jenkins leaves the game injured. Alex Leatherwood has his reputation in tatters, or is underscored. Cody Whitehair struggled in that game. The Eagles come at you with so many waves of pass rushers that a lot of people were getting on Twitter saying Justin Fields needs to be taken out of this game. He's going to get hurt, and you got to do something to protect him. The Bears, we thought at the beginning of the year were going to be a bad offensive line, and I saw last week, I believe it was PFF had them as a top 10 offensive line. What are they, Tom? Are they the 31st, 32nd team in the league that they were supposed to be, or are they a top 10 offensive line, or were they exposed by Philadelphia?
I'm not going to put them in the top 10 category because of the rushing yards that Justin Fields has attached to this running game.
Right.
And when you had Khalil Herbert and you had Dave Montgomery, that is a solid 1-2 punch. They're both, have kind of different styles of running, but they do it equally as well, and they're physical running backs. But, again, Justin has added so much to them, and he has bailed them out in so many third and whatever the distance is and made some incredible run to get the first down. Yesterday was the first time that I really saw a dysfunctional look by the offensive line, especially with the stunts that they were getting beat by. And, the offensive line, when they know they break the huddle, they know they're going to have pass blocking responsibility. They have to retreat on the same plane as they're giving up ground grudgingly against whomever is rushing the passer. As soon as you get Braxton Jones and Cody on two different planes, the stunt that they're facing is going to win, because now you got bodies in the gaps. You can't transition and pass the stunt off. And now what you see bodies running at Justin Fields, and he's got to make a decision. And sometimes it results in a sack. Sometimes that he's clever enough to make you miss and turn it into a positive play. But I would say that, yesterday was probably the first time I saw a little bit of pass blocking dysfunction by the Bears. And they gave up 6 sacks. So right. It's not a secret. And Cole did give up one of those, but I don't know why, you would have the right tackle slide inside to help the guard when you got the center over there helping also. when you wouldn't just have him stick his left arm out, ensure the outside gap for the right guard with your eyes on the tight end's block. And so to me is, dysfunction goes in multiple ways when you look at the big picture of the whole game.
Tom, I smiled when you corrected Jeff and you said, please don't call him Jack Urlacher any longer, because Jack Sanborn is good, but that nickname might be a little bit much. I like the jackhammer. He left the game in the third quarter, limped off the field. I think they missed him, but they did play fairly well without him. The final 3 games, how important are they for him to get back if he's healthy, or maybe even to just get on the field however he can because of what it means to him?
God, I want him back in the lineup, but I don't want him back in the lineup at middle linebacker at 65 to 70% on a bad ankle, because then you either take the chance of getting hurt, or then you go down the stretch and you look so bad because you can't chase, pursue, fend off blockers that are coming at you from multiple levels, or get in the right position as quickly as you need to be in order to tackle an NFL caliber athlete. So if Jack is healthy, and I'm sure he's had experiences throughout his career where he's had to play a little dinged up, but if he's more than dinged up, listen, Joe Thomas, Matt Adams did a nice job yesterday. They're 2 physical linebackers. They just have to stay healthy throughout the process, and I'm sure you can get the same out of the linebacker play, but for Jack Sanborn, I want to see you healthy. And then if you are healthy, I would like to see you play well enough to put yourself in contention that once OTA starts and, you are a candidate to be that starting Mike linebacker.